Hey everybody, ronarray here, and later in the league to improve the builds, we all need great items. One of those is 7-link Archdemon helmet, which can skyrocket your DPS if you're playing any minion build. However, sometimes you just can't buy it, because there's not a single one being sold. At the moment, when we're checking the market, there is not a single option found. And the only other option, if we will drop one of the modifiers, is going to be that helmet for 200 divines, but as you can see, it has a pretty low level of concentrated. Hypothermia is also not a high level, and it has more elemental damage instead of physical as lightning, which is better for some particular builds, such as Absolution. In that video, we're going to craft that helmet ourselves, since we don't have a lot of buying options. I'm going to cover the crafting process for both expensive version and the cheaper one that you might craft and use if you don't have the higher budget for more expensive version or just don't have additional time to work on that. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate those progress crafting videos, and let's go. So at the start we will need to get a base, and as a base we're going to use Archdemon Crown. Right here you can buy it for about 99 chaoses, just make sure it's at least item level 86. I went for 87 myself because prices are practically the same and you can get approximately 400 chaoses. But make sure that it should have no influence, so no picture there, it shouldn't be corrupted, mirrored or anything like that. Any normal base like this is going to work. Also, keep in mind that craft in general, especially if you're going for expensive version, is pretty expensive. So don't expect to roll it fast, and keep in mind that it's going to be a considerable amount of currency spent. However, I'm going to showcase later in this video that you can do a cheap version for it too, which is probably going to increase your damage in most cases anyway. So for the next step, we will need to get a helmet with Shaper influence. You can get one for like 3 chaoses without a single issue, so just go buy it. It should be rare and has only Shaper influence and nothing else. After you got the helmet, the next step is pretty obvious. So first off, we are applying Elder influence to Archdemon. And right here we have it, so now it's influenced by the Elder. And we will need to awaken your orbs as well. So first off, you're clicking on the helmet that you want to destroy. Don't make a mistake right here, because it can worth you the item. And after that, you're clicking at the item you want to change, and here it is, we got the base with double influence. As the next step, you will need to use Essence of Insanity. And at the moment I recommend to buy Insanity for chaoses instead of buying it for divines, because I believe that way it will be less expensive. And after you get enough Insanities, you need to start just spamming it at your helmet. But keep in mind that step is pretty expensive and you might need to use a lot of Insanities right now. So you will need to keep rerolling the helmet until you have Hypothermia together with physical damage as extra lightning. And you need to have the last suffix open, so if the suffix is closed, that's pretty bad, and you will need to just use Orb of Annulment and hope that it's going to delete the bad suffix. The chance here is about 30%, and right now as you can see I lost, so I will need to keep rolling. So right here as you can see I have it finished. We have a Hypothermia together with extra lightning, and we have an open suffix too, which is exactly what we need. Keep in mind that you can settle with tier 2 Hypothermia, you don't really need to roll for tier 1, but if you want a perfect helmet, you can keep rolling, which could be still pretty expensive. So at that moment, it's pretty easy to finish it. We will need to lock suffixes, so suffixes cannot be changed, you're just crafting it. And after that, you will need to reforge the critical. So you're going for critical modifiers and you're reforging it. Right here we have suffixes finished, which is very good. That's been a pretty comfortable process for us, since we have tier 1 crit, we have Hypothermia and 50 physical damage as extra lightning. If it's not going to give you critical strike chance, or it's going to give you like a second tier, you can just do the process once again. So you can try Orb of Annulment, or you can just keep using Essence of Sanity until you will hit it again. So for the next step, we will have at least a few different options. But for any options, we will need to buy a lot of Wild Bristle Matrons, because we are going to use them to pretty much lock our mods, since it's cheaper than going for just a craft from the bench. You can get one Bristle Matron for about 124 chaoses, which is significantly cheaper compared to 2 divines that we are usually paying. So after you get your Wild Bristle Matron, go to your menagerie, right-click the Wild Bristle Matron, and just filter recipes by wild. Right here we have added a crafted meta modifier to a non-unique item. After you will kill the monsters, it's going to give you the item with suffixes cannot be changed, which is exactly what we need. You will need to repeat that step every time. So from that point, we have practically double option of what we can do. First is going to be Reforging, and second is going to be just going for Exiled Loop. I believe that Exiled Loop is very safe at the moment, but the big issue for Exiled Loop that it will probably take significantly more tries. So if you're going to do the set with Exiled Loop, you don't really need suffixes cannot be changed, but since I have a bad prefix right here, which is Stalwart, we absolutely don't need it, I will need to score the item to lose it. So right here I'm clicking it with Orb of Scoring, and I don't have a single prefix anymore. Exiled Loop will be very simple. We're going to use the crafting bench to lock the mana. So right here we're just crafting the mana on that item, and we have one prefix locked. After that we're clicking it with Exalted 2 times. Right there I got like increased armor and energy shield, also armor and energy shield again. So if you're not rolling what you like, you will need to remove crafting modifier. So here remove crafting mods, and you're going back to your menagerie and practically repeating the steps. Every 2 Exiled Orbs that you're going to use are going to cost you 125 chaoses for your Matron, and after the killing they're going to get the same mod that suffixes cannot be changed, and you can score the item again, and after scoring the item you will be able to lock the mana again and click it with Exalted. Keep doing it until you will hit what you need, which is concentrated damage and minion damage in the helmet. However, that approach is very safe, but I believe it's more time consuming, especially since modifiers are pretty rare at the moment. So for that, we are going to use Reforge Minion modifier. Make sure that you have suffixes cannot be changed, so just click it. We have one prefix, which is Minion Life, and that's pretty unlucky. In that case, you will need to go to Menagerie and just complete the steps again. The biggest downside of such steps is that it can fill prefixes, and we will need to use Lucky Orb of Annulment in that case. And this is the moment where the budget part is coming from. So if you don't have the budget and just want a cheap helmet to improve your damage for about like 30 to 40% depending on your build, you can just stop at that step. When you have a minion damage, hypothermia, extra damage is lightning, and critical strike chance for the gems included. After that, you can just craft the same modifier as we're doing at the end, which is prefix for +1 level of socketed AoE gems, and just stop it at that. It's going to make craft significantly cheaper, because you will avoid re-rolling it constantly in the attempt to hit the concentrated, because chance for concentrated is not that big. So if you're on a budget, just stop at this point. You will need just minion damage and open prefix, and you should get it only after a few basic reforges, so it will not be expensive at all. However, if you strive for perfection and you want to get your concentrated up, keep reforging. So if you just getting a minion damage in that case, after reforging, just lock mana in the same fashion as we did before and click it with Exalted Orbs until you will hit that concentrated. So at this point, the last step is just crafting the last prefix plus 1 level of socketed AoE gems. And the helmet can be considered finished. You can get a little more lucky with your prefix modifier, so like minion damage could be 20, or you can get a little less lucky, it can be like level 16, and concentrated could be level 16 as well. But in general, it's going to improve your damage by a big margin. But keep in mind that if you're aiming to have a concentrated, it might take a lot of iterations, practically blocking suffixes and reforging and then applying your exalted to the helmet until you will finally hit it. You can have more than 100 tries without a single issue. So keep in mind that crafting a very good helmet right here is pretty time and currency consuming. Make sure you're not running out of it. And as I already mentioned, if you want a budget version, just drop the concentrated, stop with minion damage, and you can get it only in a few reforges. It's probably going to improve your damage anyway. I hope that video will help you out to push your build even further. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. ronarray out.